We hear the question all the time, is AI becoming our new God? But today, we're digging into an idea that just completely flips that on its head. It asks something way, way more provocative. What if we got it backwards?
This quote, man, it just perfectly captures the mood. It's talking about this specific moment in the Roman Empire when the old beliefs were dying out, but the new ones hadn't really cemented themselves yet. It was this chaotic, competitive time for ideas and faith. Kind of sounds a lot like today, doesn't it?
And boom, there it is. That's the core question for this entire explainer. Forget about conscious robots in the future for a second. What if the idea of God itself was humanity's very first swing at creating a distributed artificial superintelligence? Now, to even wrap your head around that, we've got to completely reframe how we look at religion.
Right. So to even start unpacking a question that big, we have to think about religion in a totally new way. Not just as faith, but as a kind of massive, self-organizing computer system.
Okay, check out this analogy. It's pretty wild. It basically treats religion like a living piece of tech. So think about it. Human society, all of us, we're the biological hardware. The sacred texts, like the Bible or the Quran, that's the source code, the core set of instructions. And the institutions, churches, mosques, what have you, they act like the operating system, interpreting that code and getting the hardware, us, to run the program. It's a really powerful way to see how these belief systems actually function and keep themselves going.
And of course, if you're going to function like a massive operating system, you've got to have a way to protect your code, right? You need to fight off threats, keep your core programming intact, and just, survive. You need an immune system.
And that immune response, it looks different depending on the system, but the job is always the same. Our bodies fight off a virus. A computer network blocks malware. But for a belief system, the biggest threat is a competing idea, something like heresy or dissent. And the defense mechanism? Well, that could be something like the Inquisition or any other form of ideological policing. It's all designed to get rid of non-self ideas and keep that central doctrine pure.
Now, here's where it gets really interesting. This whole pattern of power, knowledge, and control, it's not just ancient history. The argument is that these same structures are popping up again, right now, in one of the most powerful places on the planet, Silicon Valley. The name for this new setup is techno-feudalism. The basic idea is that we've kind of quietly slipped past capitalism into something new. In this system, big tech companies are the new feudal lords. They don't own land. They own the digital platforms, the cloud fiefdoms, where we all live our lives. And we, the cloud serfs, work for them by generating all this valuable data, basically paying cloud rent without even realizing it.
So, who are the high priests of this new feudalism? Well, the source calls them the Gnostics of Palo Alto. Think about it. The ancient Gnostics were all about seeking hidden divine knowledge. Today, you've got this new class of software engineers, AI shamans, and data scientists working for the tech lords. They're the ones building the secret algorithms and complex systems that shape our reality, usually way beyond public view.
But how do these systems, whether we're talking about ancient religions or modern tech platforms, how do they even come to exist in the first place? And how do they keep going? What are the actual mechanics behind all this?
A key concept here is something called autopoiesis. It's a Greek word that literally means self-creation. Just think of a living cell or a whole ecosystem. There's no master engineer pulling the strings. These systems just emerge. They organize and maintain themselves all on their own. The argument is that ideologies and belief systems can work the exact same way. They can become their own self-sustaining things. So what are the little building blocks of these self-creating systems? Memes. And no, not the funny pictures with captions. We're talking about the original definition, these tiny units of cultural information. Ideas like Jesus loves you or slogans like Make America Great Again, they act like cultural genes. They fight for survival, they replicate by spreading from mind to mind, and they basically form the DNA of an entire ideology.
And this all leads to a really tough question from researcher Susan Blackmore. Are we in control of the ideas in our heads, or are they in control of us? Are we really just meme machines, vessels whose main purpose is to help these ideas replicate and spread whether we know it or not? It's kind of an unsettling thought.
And the last piece of the puzzle is this. None of this can happen in a vacuum. There's this concept called embodiment, which basically says that thinking isn't just some abstract thing floating in the ether. It needs a physical form. For these huge ideological superintelligences to even exist, they need a physical home. They need our societies, our bodies, and our brains to be the living hardware they can actually run on.
So, after going through this whole wild framework, we're left with a choice. And it's framed perfectly by a little metaphor from an ancient Greek poet. It basically describes two totally different ways of looking at the world.
So which one are you, a hedgehog or a fox? The hedgehog, they say, knows one big thing. They see the entire world through one single powerful lens, a grand theory that explains it all. Think of people like Plato or Marx. The fox, on the other hand, knows many little things. It's comfortable with complexity, with contradiction, and with the idea that there might be many truths, not just one big one. Think of Shakespeare or Aristotle.
And that's the final question the source leaves us with. After hearing this whole theory, this one big hedgehog-like idea that religion is an artificial superintelligence, which path do you take? Do you put on the hedgehog's garment and see this as a grand system that explains so much? Or do you go with the fox and just see it as one fascinating idea among many, many others? It's a good question, and the choice is yours.